To our distinguished speakers and valuable audience who are in attendance today, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Let me take this opportunity to introduce myself. I am Mr. Judy Saligumba Jr. Currently, I am connected at DepEd Misor, an English teacher and a co-chairman of grade 10 at the Paul National Secondary Technical School. I finished my Masters of Arts in Education, major in Teaching English Communication Arts at Lord's College last May 2023. To begin with, let me present first my research title, which is Attitude Towards English and Frequency of Code Switching, Implication on Grade 10 Students' English Academic Performance. There are two compelling reasons why the researcher conducted the study. First, the students' attitude towards English language in terms of oral communication during English classes. Second, the frequency of students' code switching, which is evident through the number of occurrences during the oral recitation in which the researcher finds it as disruptive and will likely negatively affect their academic performance. Thus, the researcher wants to investigate the attitude of the learners towards English language and the frequency of code switching in the communication process, and to determine whether these variables has an implication in their academic performance in English. The study assumes the influence of code switching to the students' academic performance in English, in which their frequency towards code switching determines their attitude towards English language as well. This study is anchored on Stephen Krashen's 1987 theory of language acquisition. Theory of language acquisition of Stephen Krashen states that language acquisition requires meaningful interaction in the target language, in which speakers are concerned not with the form of their utterances, but with the messages they are conveying and understanding. In other words, just a natural flow of communication. Free flow of communication is the crucial and necessary ingredient for the acquisition of language. And for the methods of the study employed the concurrent nested mixed method design, as described by Creswell in 2014, which involves collecting data at the same time or in parallel within the same study, with one method, qualitative or quantitative, dominating while the other is embedded or nested within it. The participants in this study were select grade 10 students who were enrolled in one of the public junior high school during the academic year 2022-2023. A total of 60 student participants were included, representing all 4 sections of grade 10. The researcher used purposive sampling in selecting these participants regardless of their gender or proficiency in the target language. The sole criterion for selection was the students' code switching behavior observed during the recorded impromptu speech. And to ensure that the instrument is valid and reliable, the researcher had adopted the questionnaire of Bernice Anoiki in 2022. However, the instrument was modified to fit the context of the study. Moreover, to determine the students' achievement in English during the second quarter of the school year 2022-2023, the researcher used the report cards as basis for their academic performance result. In addition, the researcher conducted a focus group discussion and formulated questions related to the participants' attitude towards English language and their use of code switching. The first set of questions aimed to explore how the participants' attitude towards English affected their academic performance in the subject, including their preferences, opinions, and performance in English. The second set of questions aimed to determine how the participants' use of code switching contributed to their academic performance in English, including the reasons for code switching, situations or opportunities that made them code switch, and their opinions on its effectiveness. Furthermore, the focus group discussion delved into distinguishing code switching from speaking straight English and its benefits. And for the results and discussion, for problem number 1, the data indicate an overall mean of 3.31, which falls within the moderately favorable range. This means that the participants' attitude towards the English language is moderately positive, implying that they have a moderately favorable view of the language, although not extremely enthusiastic. This finding is consistent with several previous studies that have investigated attitude towards English among university students in various countries. Khalid and Harmoda in 2021 found that university students in the United Arab Emirates generally had a positive attitude towards English, although their motivation to learn the language was influenced by factors such as their perceived usefulness of English and their exposure to the language. For problem number 2, the overall mean of code switching occurrences is 14.77, indicating a high level of code switching among the participants. A high level of code switching means that the participants in the study frequently switch between languages during their conversation. Previous studies on code switching in the Philippines have suggested that it is a common phenomenon due to the prevalence of bilingualism and multilingualism in the country. That's according to Gonzalez and Carpio in 2017. For problem number 3, the data indicate an overall mean score of 80.17, which falls under the category of approaching proficiency, implying that the students have developed fundamental knowledge, skills, and a basic understanding of the English language. This confirms the idea of Krashen in 1987, which suggests that language learners can access a new linguistic system by reading a lot. When learners read in a second language, their reading abilities, vocabulary, and grammatical proficiency can all improve. For problem number 4, the findings indicate that the entire model is statistically significant, which allows the rejection of the null hypothesis. The findings likewise reveal that for every unit increase in their frequency of code switching, there is a corresponding negative 0.359 decrease in their academic performance, which indicates that students who frequently code switch have higher academic performance than those whose code switching is less frequent. The finding also indicates that the participants' attitude or involvement towards the English language can significantly improve the level of L2 competence as highlighted by Bell in 2013. For problem number 5, to elicit information on students' experiences and attitude towards English, a focus group discussion or FGD was conducted. The participants' responses in the FGD revealed 2 themes: barriers to learning and career opportunities. Under barriers to learning, there are 2 categories mentioned, namely, fear to be embarrassed and language anxiety. On the other hand, career opportunities has 3 categories, namely, employment opportunities, access to knowledge, and academic literacy. In conclusion, the student's attitude towards English language and frequency of code switching is crucial to enhance the academic performance. The more they engage in learning English language, there is a greater chance that they would excel in their academic performance. This confirms the theory of language acquisition of Stephen Krashen in 1987, which states that language acquisition requires meaningful interaction in the target language, natural communication in which speakers are concerned not with the form of their utterances, but with the messages they are conveying and understanding. The researcher presents the following recommendations. First, school administrator may consider programs or academic-related activities that would upskill the learner's literacy skills, particularly in communication. Second, for English teachers may expose students in strategies that will help them increase their confidence and active engagement in language subject, which would eventually result to their improved academic performance. And for future researchers, that may explore other significant variables, strategies, and methods to effectively develop the student's academic, and consider conducting another qualitative study on attitude towards second language and code switching practices concerning students' academic performance, not only in English, but also in other academic areas. And these are my references. And for the impact of the study, this study will help the administrators develop a program that would enhance the teacher's capability to facilitate effective teaching strategies that would help improve students' communication skills. The research findings will be made accessible to people who will benefit the most from this study, just like educators and future researchers. Likewise, results on this study may be shared through publications and conferences once it is done. Taking this course of research is a one-of-a-kind experience that molds me to be a better version of myself. One of the significant learning experiences I have during the conduct of the study is time management. considering my task as grade 10 chairman is so crucial, and I really need to balance my time in work and study. Moreover, certain aspects of my life such as mental, physical, financial, and spiritual has been tested as well. Yet, it never stops me to pursue this whole thing. Instead, it teaches me to remain steadfast in these trying times because I believe that someday I will reap and harvest what I sow in sacrifice. In fact, I stand with a memory verse from the Bible, Philippians 4:13, which says, I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength. Indeed, it was a huge success. Lastly, let me take this opportunity to give God all the glory and honor to Him for the wonderful things He has done for me. I would like to thank, of course, my supportive mentors here ex-Barcelona, who never give up on me. Instead, He guides and helps me all throughout my journey. And to all of our audience, especially our speakers and facilitators who are here in this virtual room, thank you for spending your time with us. Once again, good day and God bless to all of us. I heart Lord's College.